Pike with Real Talk, and welcome once again the esteemed Ian Angus. So thanks for coming out. Totally appreciate you taking your time on a Friday, no less.
Thank you for having me.
And it's not even golfing. Like, is the golfing season done?
I was golfing yesterday.
Okay. Well, at least you got that in. So, Ian, I just want to talk about home inspections. And I don't know if you've ran into any instances or if you've been reading all Nova Scotia. And there's been a lot of disgruntled buyers. You know, they would have bought or purchased their home during COVID. Some of them would have purchased the house sight unseen. They would have purchased through the selling agent. Mm-hmm. And now they're coming up and, you know, they're finding all these things wrong with the house. And there's lawsuits. Like I think there's been about at least 3 that I've seen. Have you had any experience at all within the past year and a half with any buyers that you would have worked with, or even maybe homes that now you have to sell that someone would have purchased with another agent?
I've had a few instances where homes were purchased without inspections, and I find that was more of an out of province thing. Mm-hmm. People were used to doing that in other provinces like Ontario, Vancouver. You know, they wanted to make their offer look better. Yep. So they were doing no inspection clause on that, and not realizing, first of all, where the property is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yep.
That was a big issue that I've heard of, and then showing up and being surprised that there was an issue with the property. I've done hundreds of home inspections with all different inspectors throughout HRM. And we have yet to find a perfect house, be it 100 years old or brand new. There has never been a perfect house.
No. So we're just, you know, talking off the cuff here. Mm-hmm. And let's say if I was that buyer from Ontario, purchased sight unseen, now I come down and the house is a complete show, right?
Yep.
Who's responsible for that? Should the buyer or should the agent that I use be on the hook for that? Like, or is it just on me, the buyer, that, hey, buyer beware, you bought it, you know, sight unseen, you didn't do a home inspection, that's on you. And again, we're just...
There's certain situations where I would say the buyer is more responsible, and there's some situations where I'd say the agent is more responsible. When they're buying a house from the listing agent has some sort of idea what the house condition is like.
Yeah.
You know, they've been in it multiple times. They've showed it to other people. They've had other agents go through the house and comment on this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm. But people that are buying the house, the buyers, sight unseen and without inspections, you know, they have to take some of the responsibility themselves.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
No one forced them to do that. Right?
No.
So, I mean, you have to take a little bit of that responsibility, but I think it's 50-50 in some cases, but you know, it all depends on the situation.
Yeah, I would say we would have listed 2 houses this year. One was rat infested. Mm-hmm. The lady came down and the house was, she must have cried when she walked in. And I've never seen a house in such disarray, and we had to try and sell it. And then there was another one. The house was to have had all of these upgrades, and they were done wrong without permits that were pulled, and you know, it cost the lady hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get the house fixed, you know, the way it should have been. And she used the listing agent, bought it sight unseen, and no home inspection.
Well, that goes back to what we discussed before about experience.
Yeah.
Doing a video walkthrough for a client from out of town and just walking through with a video camera and showing that isn't what you need to be doing. You need to be going through it with a fine-tooth comb and going over every inch of that property. People that have experience going through multiple inspections and selling multiple homes and going through new construction, you need to treat those homes as if you're doing a pre-close inspection on a new construction or deficiency walkthrough.
Yep, but I don't have to do that if I represent the seller and I'm just doing paperwork.
But if you're representing both sides, you know.
Where is that due diligence? Should that be allowed? Should we be allowed here in Nova Scotia to be involved with the seller and the buyer?
I believe so.
Tell me why.
Reason why, now, this is my personal opinion on this.
Yeah, we're just talking.
You're right. Is that if it's a first-time home buyer, no way.
Yep, I agree.
You shouldn't. You should have your own representation because you're not experienced in the buying and selling of real estate.
Yep.
It's your first time. Your mom and dad can tell you all they know about real estate because they sold 2 or 3 homes over the years.
Yep.
But an experienced agent will have a little bit more experience than your parents would.
Yeah.
Saying that, if you are a seasoned veteran in the buying and selling of real estate, if you've sold multiple homes, purchased multiple rental properties, or whatever the situation might be, you know what you're willing to pay. The seller knows what they're willing to let it go for. When I list a property, I never ask my client what their bottom line is.
Nor do I.
Because I never want to know, because that way we're always on the up and up if I happen to represent the buyer. Now, I average 60 to 80 transactions a year. I might represent a buyer 7 or 8 times
Yep.
out of those 70 or 80 transactions. So it doesn't occur that often. And if I feel that they're not experienced enough or they're asking a ton of questions, I will hand them off to another agent and tell them you need your own representation for this property.
I'm okay with new construction representing our builder and representing the buyer because most buyer agents, they just drop the client off anyway. So I'm okay in that instance. First time home buyers, I can't do anything for you. You truly do need to have your own representation. And that is my co-star who likes to do a little appearance every now and then. That's Daisy. This is, Daisy Pike. She's an older gal, and if she's not getting her attention, she certainly does her best to try to get it. Yeah, she's sick. She's an old girl. She's 16 now.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, I believe that buyers do need their own representation, in certain circumstances.
If for instance, the NSAR or NSREC decided that we weren't allowed to double end properties anymore, I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over it.
Neither would I. I wouldn't care. It's all fun and games to be on both sides, but it's never fun and games if you're getting sued. So I'd rather just, especially for a first-time home buyer or someone who is a novice buyer, I'd rather, like yourself, send them off to someone else.
Correct. Yep.
So any advice that you would give to a buyer? We talked about the home inspection, and I don't think a lot of home inspections right now are being, usually most people are doing them now. What advice would you give to a buyer in this market?
With regards to a home inspection?
Oh, no, with regards to buying a house.
Well, I mean, the options are few and far between out there right now. It all depends on your budget. Obviously, if you have a healthy budget, there's more options for you. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you have, let's say, a 500 or under budget, there's less options for you out there. Buying a property that requires work isn't the first choice of most buyers out there, especially first-timers.
Yeah.
Their budget is tight. They don't want to do the work, or they're not qualified to do the work. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. Find an area that you're interested in and find out from neighbors or talking to local businesses about who they would recommend in that area. And, look around, find someone that knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, Ian, I wanted to thank you for coming out today to see me and talking about buyers, and maybe we'll get you back because I'd like to talk about the market and what's going on. So if you're up for that, I'd love to have you back again.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much for coming.